The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
First down. Handoff, Elliott plowing to the goal line. Barry, sacked by Lawrence. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now, your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Patrick Walker, Rob Phillips, and Kyle Yeomans.
Good morning, Cowboys Nation. Welcome into Talkin Cowboys, presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company, here from the SWBC studios at the Star in Frisco. It is a beautiful Wednesday morning in Cowboys Nation as Week 1 is officially here, and the Cowboys prepare to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Sunday Night Football. 7:20 kickoff at AT&T Stadium alongside Patrick No C Walker, Isaiah Stanback, Rob Phillips. We've got Chris Beam in the back. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Quite well, my friend. Quite well.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Freaking
Fantastic.
rad. I'm rad today.
You're rad?
I'm rad.
Is it the air conditioning?
Freaking A. Yeah?
Is it the air conditioning?
Yes, air conditioning. So, sweet here.
It's nice here, right?
Nice to have it. Yes.
We're referencing an article that Isaiah sent earlier this morning about SoFi Stadium not having actual AC.
Unreal.
And just using architecture to try and use their Pacific Ocean air that, of course, is not really close to the Pacific Ocean at that point, to cool their stadium. It didn't really work.
Yeah,
it's
not a really
hot
thing.
there,
Yeah.
ultimately.
The article was talking about how hot it's going to be this weekend, right?
the Bills
actually, tomorrow.
Yeah, Bills and the Rams
night.
tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow night, how it's like in the upper 90s and how it's going to be a hot box in there. And we were just talking about how Dallas Cowboys Stadium is 3 times less the cost, right? AT&T Stadium, it costs 3 times less, but has nice cooled air conditioning.
Has to. Absolutely has to. Yeah. And it's hotter, like in Oxnard.
Yes.
Nice, cool temps, especially at night. Gets hotter in the valley down there in L.A.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting game. Bills and the Rams. We aren't picking that game because we'll pick on Friday, so we'll let the Thursday night football kind of happen.
But if we were going to pick,
You want to pick it right now?
let's freaking do it.
Who you got? Rams or Bills?
Bills.
Yeah, I think I got the Bills too.
I hadn't thought about this at all. I'm on the spot.
Same.
I haven't either,
Same.
for being honest.
Where's the game?
It's in L.A.
I'll go L.A.
Oh!
Yeah. Stafford says he's got no limitations.
Oh!
Zero
We'll see.
limitations.
But he says
Yeah.
Is he like Russ? Is he limitless?
I'm going to go Bills because while Stafford says he has no limitations, I mean, Von Miller quite literally just left L.A., and he knows how to get after Matthew Stafford.
He does.
He practiced against him all last season.
there's so much hype around Buffalo.
Buffalo's just
So
they're a good
much.
team. But
Like,
I'm looking.
I
I
think
am looking
it's
forward to seeing Bobby
deservedly
Wagner
so.
and
Deservedly
Aaron
so.
Donald.
Deservedly
Bobby Wagner
so.
and Aaron Donald together. That's going to be
Yeah.
a complete problem for
When we
whoever
were-
fixes those guys.
We got
Yeah,
a chance.
I think Josh Allen will get some plays off, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
When we got a chance to go to the NFL Network while we were in L.A., I asked somebody about that. Like, you've been to a bunch of different camps. Who has stood out? Like, where do the Cowboys compare? And they said, well, the Cowboys are good. Like, don't get us wrong. Like, they're very talented, and even the practice, the tempo of the practice is good. He said, but Buffalo. Oh, Buffalo. Well, he was like, that's next level. It was special in Buffalo. So they've got some hype, and they've got some hype for a reason. But this isn't talking Bills.
The heck no, it's not.
This is talking Cowboys.
It's a freaking star right there.
Gosh darn it.
Freaking star.
Gosh darn it.
It's a nice shirt you got there, Kyle. Look at the texture on
Thanks,
that
man.
thing, huh?
Appreciate it.
Custom.
What's the thread count on that?
Oh, yeah. It's massive.
Botanical.
I didn't pay for it. Rob, give us some news and some notes. Cowboys back on the practice field today after a day off yesterday.
Yes, first Wednesday practice of the regular season. They're going to be outside. Like you said, they did have Tuesday off. They practiced on Monday. There was no injury report. So this will be our first injury report day of the season. A couple guys to keep an eye on. Jordan Lewis, they're trying to get him ready for week 1. Coming off that hamstring, we just mentioned L.A. It was out there in the Chargers week where he got banged up in that game. Also, Kelvin Joseph had a concussion in the preseason finale. He hasn't been doing full work yet, so keep an eye on that for Sunday heading into that week 1 opener. And if you're interested in this sort of thing, the unofficial Cowboys depth chart is out for week 1.
Let's freaking go.
No real surprises.
If you say real surprises.
Expecting surprises?
Yeah.
Unofficial depth chart, Isaiah?
not really. Never.
Yeah, not that. Yeah.
That's why I said if you're interested in that thing.
Yeah,
Exactly.
We know these guys.
So we know he's got what we got here. Left tackle Tyler Smith. Tyler Smith. Connor McGovern at left guard. Quentin Bohanna listed as a starting defensive tackle.
Oh.
And the kickoff and punt returner, Cavante Turpin. Listed first on the depth chart.
Really?
Over Tony Pollard. Yes.
It's going to be Dalton Schultz.
Yes. Returning?
Yeah.
Stop.
Gasp.
Stop it.
So 2 cornerbacks potentially injured.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. They're going to get guys ready to go. I'm not sure about Joseph with the concussion. That's a tricky deal. But I think
as far as Jordan Lewis is concerned, I mean, he said, early last week that he was on track. We've seen and heard nothing to the contrary. In Monday's individual workouts, he was moving exceptionally well over there, in and out of his breaks, looked quick, looked back to form. So, that's what you're looking for when a guy's coming off of a hamstring tweak. He showed no limitations to me. So today will be key, like Rob said, to seeing if he can get back to team drills and getting back on the field. But as we have this conversation, I don't have any concern for Jordan Lewis getting on the field for week 1.
I always have a concern when it's a hamstring.
I was just about to ask you.
Always have I've had my share of a hamstring, and you really don't get that thing. Yes, look, coming out of breaks and being quick and agile, all that stuff helps. But when you got to turn and open up, that's when Mr. Hammy comes and grabs you.
There's a difference between practice speed and game speed when it comes to a hammy, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
So hopefully he's good. Hopefully, and obviously we'll find out more as the week goes along. I hope that he's good because they need J. Lou.
I'll also tell you why I'm not entirely concerned with it, but we'll get to that.
Okay, we'll get to that later.
Matchups.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, it's a perfect segue. Yeah. One other thing, Tyler Smith talked to him again on Monday. He says he's full go with that ankle. He's had both ankles taped up, one more heavily than the other, but he's got no limitations. He says he might wind up on the injury report, but the expectations is he'll start at left tackle.
Do you think that he has passed the test? It's not really a test. Has he now worked his way to getting taped up by Britt Brown? Do you think that he's crossed that?
You're saying instead of one of Britt's worker,
Britt does not tape up everybody.
Yeah,
if you're getting taped up by Britt Brown, you have his respect. Do you think?
Why don't you text him?
Oh yes,
it's like a hierarchy.
Oh, there's definitely a hierarchy.
Yeah,
I've seen Britt kick people off his table.
Shoot him a text.
Okay.
Shoot him a text and see.
I'm not sure if I got B's number.
Oh, I know you do.
You want
I bet
it?
you do. Oh, look at Beam flexing in the back.
Isaiah with the hard-hitting questions this morning.
That's a real question.
It's a fact.
That's a real thing.
Yeah.
You know that. I mean.
He'd tell you that too. He would totally tell you that.
I remember when I was a rookie, I would just get in where I fit in, and
you tape your own ankles?
No. I got taped up by whoever. And the reason why the ankle tape is crucial. All right, I need people to listen. Look where my one shot is. Listen, the ankle tape is crucial. Okay?
Cow bite.
You understand this? Right. If you get taped up by somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, okay, they're not efficient, they're not smooth, they don't have the swoops and all that jazz, that thing will cut in on your Achilles in the middle of practice, in the middle of one-on-ones, and you're going to be in a world of trouble for the rest of practice. All right, and the next following days, because you're going to have a nice little slit, like somebody took a nice little paper cut and right on the back of your ankle.
I can respect Isaiah making his point so fervently that he broke the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, this is only your second show?
He broke the fourth wall.
It happens like 3 times a week.
Hey, usually it's only during the S-Lord read, but yeah.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
We'll
You'll get used to it. But that's honestly something you don't think about, because if we're out here watching practice and we're like, oh my gosh, Tyler Smith is just getting roasted on the edge, and it's like, oh, he got his ankle tape messed up. Nobody ever thinks about that.
Got a paper cut on his Achilles.
Laceration on his ankle.
Hey, any player out there, anybody who's played football before or basketball really, but mostly football, can go out there, tweet it. If you've had a bad ankle tape job, it's real. It is a real thing. It's a condition.
Yeah,
it is a condition. People don't play around with their ankle tape, yo. I'm telling you.
Take up on the injury report is Tyler Smith. Tape.
Bad tape job.
Probable tape.
There will be a line out the training room to wait for one guy. If he is efficient with his tape job, you will wait on that one person.
Oh man, I want to know how many people have had bad tape jobs in their athletic career.
Oh my gosh.
Doesn't matter the level. High school, college, NFL, I don't care. You could be a pro ultimate frisbee player for all I care. I want to know about your ankle tape.
On your leg here if you want to.
I'm not going to get yelled at by Britt for texting him, but if I see him today, I'm going to ask him.
Oh, ask him. Please do.
All right. Defensive matchups to watch. We're going to preview the Cowboys defense versus this Tampa Bay offense here on Wall Wednesday. And I really think there's an opportunity here for this defense to shine. And we're going to get to that later on. Why can they shine against this Tampa Bay offense, who had really, really good numbers last year? They were 4th in yardage. They were right up at the top in terms of explosive pass plays. They were actually number 1 in explosive pass plays of 10 yards or more.
So 3 times
I know that was not hard or not easy. What defensive matchups are we looking for here, guys? You teased one a little bit earlier, so I'll let you start, Pat. What defensive matchups that you've got your eye on that you want to keep, that you think the Cowboys can take advantage of?
Well, it's easy to draw a red circle around Trayvon Diggs versus Mike Evans, although we don't know just yet if Diggs is going to shadow Evans or if Chris Godwin is going to play, and if Godwin plays, what's the Anthony Brown-Diggs dynamic there between those two receivers. But as far as the secondary is concerned, I'm very interested in that battle at the slot receiver position for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because Russell Gage, he himself is nursing a hamstring issue. Okay, so they acquire Russell Gage. They would like to believe that he's going to be on the field for Week 1. But what if it's Scottie Miller instead of Russell Gage, right? If it's Scottie Miller versus Jordan Lewis, even though Jordan is coming off of a hamstring injury himself, there's been ample time for Lewis to get 98%. Okay, a 98% Lewis for me coming off of a career best season last year, 3 interceptions, 11 pass breakups, 60 plus tackles and 13 starts. Give me the edge to Jordan Lewis over Scottie Miller. If Russell Gage is out there, Gage's hamstring injury was suffered more recently than Jordan Lewis. Edge to me still goes to Jordan Lewis, and I think that the passing attack for the Buccaneers will go as the slot receivers go, because that's going to be the pressure release valve for Tom Brady if he cannot effectively, consistently get to Mike Evans. If Chris Godwin is not on the field, that exacerbates the need for the Buccaneers to really get going at the slot.
I like that.
I do too, because we know they're banged up on the offensive line.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're banged up in terms of Godwin and what he's bringing back after a long-term injury. I mean, the fact that Gage is a little banged up too, that means they're thin at wide receiver.
Correct.
As much as you'd like to think of, of course, Mike Evans is still Mike Evans, don't get me wrong.
And Julio Jones.
And, Julio Jones is in that, whatever. Jalen Darden's probably the best player on that field right now. But North Texas grad, Jalen Darden, I should say. You know why I did that.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I knew it was coming.
But people are looking at the Cowboys question marks and saying, oh, my gosh, Tampa Bay's got their own questions too. I
think we're going in the same direction.
Okay.
You mentioned the offensive line, and we're so close to the Cowboys, and it's reality. Like, their offensive line questions are real. We've talked about the interior line, now left tackle. We'll see how Tyler Smith fares there. But if you look close at Tampa Bay, you're probably concerned about their interior line, their left guard, their center spot. Luke Gadecki is going to probably start at left guard, Robert Hainsey at center, and that's not a strength for them, at least on paper, because those guys have not done it. It's the same thing we've talked about with the Cowboys. Oh, they're young in this spot. Oh, they're inexperienced in this spot. It looks like Tristan Wirfs will be able to go for them at right tackle, and that's probably their strength, is their edges. But we've talked all offseason about how versatile this interior defensive line is, how they've got edge guys that can play inside. Yeah. Pat mentioned even Sam Williams can move inside on certain downs. DeMarcus Lawrence has played the 3 tech. Like, they've got a lot of different guys that can move inside and cause havoc on passing downs against this interior Bucs line. So that's the one I'm watching.
Because they've got, so Hainsey's a 3rd-round pick from last year, 2021.
Yeah, young guys.
Luke Gadecki out of Central Michigan, he's playing his first NFL game ever.
2nd-round pick.
And also
second-round pick.
Still really small school.
Really good player.
It's huge stage.
Same thing we're talking about with Tyler Smith.
Exactly.
Oh, he only played at Tulsa, that kind of thing.
And then they've got Donovan Smith on the edge. He played really well last year. He was like an 80-plus in terms of PFF. But the right side of their line, good. Wirfs, Mason, check. They're usually fine. Maybe. To a certain extent.
Wirfs doesn't sound confident. Now, he might
Really?
he might play,
yeah.
but in recent interviews the past few days, he doesn't sound confident in that oblique. He himself said he would, if push came to shove, he would rather rest it a little bit longer to prevent a potential setback or re-aggravation of it than to have to play. But, obviously it's not his call for the most part. If he's cleared medically enough to play and Todd Bowles says, hey, you're playing because it's week 1, it's Sunday Night Football against the Cowboys, get out there. Yeah, but my point is, even if he is out there, he's not 100% physically nor mentally, because mentally he's still worried about that oblique. That's something to watch, even if he's out there.
Then is this a chance for 90 to go 100?
Absolutely.
DeMarcus Lawrence, is he licking his chops right now?
Underdog, upper dog, doesn't matter to him.
I love that quote. Yeah, that's a good quote by
this is to that point and to Rob's point. This is an offensive line that lost a Pro Bowler in Ali Marpet to retirement. You lose Alex Kappa to free agency. Wirfs suffers injury in off season, or I should say in training camp in preseason. We were talking about him mentally. Is he actually wanting to be on the field for week 1? And then you put in a rookie, second round pick, but still a rookie from a small school. I feel like for all the question marks and all the justifiable concern surrounding the Cowboys' offensive line, why is there not the same level of concern? Why is it not DEFCON 1?
Oh, I think I know the answer.
Because in Tampa Bay, and I know he's going to go with Thomas and say because of Thomas.
His name is Thomas Brady.
I knew you were going to say Thomas.
Very much so. All you guys have very valid points. Their offensive line is beat up more than Dallas Cowboys' offensive line is beat up. They're weak where we are strong on the opposing side. A lot of opportunities for the Dallas Cowboys to get some pressure. And if historically, and I've been in those meeting rooms, if you get pressure on TB12 from the interior line, you cause him problems. You get him frustrated, he gets angry, he starts cursing out his players, things get crazy. Okay? If you can have interior pressure. Exterior pressure from the defense end position, step up all day long. He's just smooth as dog on margarine if you allow him to step up there in the pocket. But if he can't step up, obviously he's not the most agile person in the world. It causes him problems. He does not like that.
Trying to move laterally.
He does not like disruption in front of his face. So our interior guys have to go ham. What Micah Parsons did last year has to go ham. Dan Quinn, get creative, cause some mismatches. You test out these young guys that you guys are talking about on the offensive front. Test out these inexperienced guys. Make, do some stunts, do some across their face, do some things that make things hard for them. The reason why I pump my brakes a little bit is because I know this man and I know how much studying he does. More than any other human probably on earth. And I know the communication that he demands of his offensive line, specifically. Of everybody on offense, but specifically his offensive line. If he feels like there is any form of a threat in terms of those guys not protecting him efficiently or them not being on the same page, they will be doing walkthroughs from 12 a.m. to 4 a.m. at his house until they have it figured out. He will not sleep. He will not eat. He will not throw a ball until these guys are all on one accord. He is of the mindset where if you're going to be wrong, we're going to be wrong together. And there's going to be nobody that's isolated. When we slide together. There's no gaps. There's no seams. Don't worry about that guy over there. I got him.
Counterpoint.
Okay?
Counterpoint. Everything you said is correct. Tom Brady is inhuman. Okay? Inarguably, for me, the best quarterback to ever do it. Okay? That said, execution still matters.
Absolutely.
I believe Tom Brady is going to execute because he's Tom Brady. But we're talking about a rookie second-round pick on the interior. We're talking about a young NFL guy at center. And you just mentioned a few moments ago, as it relates to Jordan Lewis, practice reps and game speed, two different things.
Yep.
Okay, so you got two young interior guys going against a more seasoned guy and hungry in someone like Neville Gallimore, for example, who, for my money, is going to lead the charge for the Cowboys' interior line. As Neville goes, you will see Quentin Bohanna go, Chauncey Golston go, Oso Odigizua go. Once these young guys, they're in the film room, they're in the practice field with Tom Brady, and they're absorbing all of this, and it's magnificent, it's wonderful, everything's great until that ball is snapped and Neville Gallimore is bearing down on you like you're trying to steal his sack lunch. Because you are. because he wants the sack for lunch. Okay, I think that the youth on the interior offensive line is what's going to be the Achilles heel, because even though Brady is Brady and he can compensate for a lot of those deficiencies, but he can't compensate for every deficiency, because at the end of the day, this particular player or that particular player, they still have to execute in their role. There will be times where Brady's greatness will compensate for their deficiency, but it won't be 100% of the time. So then the question becomes, in those times where it's not compensating for it, Neville Gallimore, can you capitalize? Osa, can you capitalize? Quentin, can you capitalize? DeMarcus Lawrence, maybe if the pressure on the ends isn't enough to get to Brady, stunts. Now we're talking to Dan Quinn.
He's going right up the middle.
Right up the middle. Yep. Dan Quinn isn't a spring chicken in this game either.
For sure.
Right? Dan Quinn knows a little bit about getting after quarterbacks and Brady, specifically.
Brady knows a lot about Brady.
So I say all that
Brady
to
knows
say
a lot about
Brady fair. So the question is, where does it start to cancel out? And it starts to cancel out in the execution of the players that are protecting Brady.
So to that point, I say all that to say, I'll backdoor it. Dallas, on paper, personnel-wise, has an advantage, hands down. Hands down.
Yeah.
Mentally, intelligence-wise, players-wise, in terms of the communication and all that stuff, I'm going to give that edge to TB12 and the guys that he's teaching.
Just from playing with him,
just from knowing this guy.
Brady is Brady.
And he's taking that New England culture with him to Tampa.
Absolutely. Dallas will be effective if their one-on-one matchups are won. And that seems really vanilla to say. You're not going to – you might win a series or a couple plays scheming things up and confusing these young guys. That will get corrected really quick. The battles on the interior line, the battles on that front, those one-on-one matchups, when there is no stunt, it is just head up, I'm going against you, I'm Gallimore, I'm Osa, those are going to have to be what makes things difficult for TB12 and his offense, not necessarily the scheme.
So how has Brady changed over the years? I want to answer that question when we come back on the other side of the break. Also, how can Micah Parsons rushing the passer more often against Tampa Bay this year, more so than he did last year in Week 1, change the culture of how that game turned out in 2021 and turn it into a win for the Cowboys in 22? When we come back with more Talkin' Cowboys.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way. Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
This sweet! Did you get to work on time?
Yeah, but I just realized it's Sunday.
Little Sweet says head on home. Dr. Pepper's on its way. So sweet, unique. Baby, there's nothing better. I bet you've probably done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper. Did you invest your nest egg in an NFT?
Yeah, and I don't even know what that is. It's a non-fungible token.
Everyone's done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper.
Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate. I'm a broken traffic light. Stop and go is the name of my game. It's easy. You go, they go. Or was it, they go, you go? And if you have the wrong car insurance, these repair costs could stop you in your tracks. So get Allstate's new low auto rate and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Not available in every state, based on coverage and limits selected. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Allstate Bar and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Head to AT&T Stadium on Saturday, September 10th to experience Rally Day presented by SeatGeek. Get ready to cheer on your Dallas Cowboys with tours of AT&T Stadium, ticket giveaways, games, inflatables, and more. Visit attstadium.com/rallydays for tickets and for more information. Of course, that's coming up on Saturday, September 10th. Back here on Talkin' Cowboys, presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company. I'm sipping on their Medal of Honor blend today. Check them out at blackriflecoffee.com, and 100% of the proceeds of this Medal of Honor coffee go to the National Medal of Honor Museum that will be in Arlington. So keep that in mind. All right. We just had a great conversation in that first segment about Tom Brady. And of course, Isaiah, you've got an inside source yourself. And the fact that you played.
That's a doggone good source there, Tom. I'm just saying.
The fact that you played with Tom Brady in New England. And anytime we get a chance to talk about this, I feel like I learned something new about him and what he does from a preparation standpoint. You just talked about how their readiness is what will put them over the top. How has he changed over the years, though? Because Dallas is 0-6. They're looking for their first win against Tom Brady ever. And the closest they got was last season when it was 31-29. How is he different from when you played with him and now what you've seen along the way and just being in touch with him throughout? Where is he different?
It's kind of weird and scary at the same time. He's more cerebral now than he was early on in his career.
That's scary.
It is because obviously, I mean, y'all saw his interview. He's 45. He has a lot of boop going on, and he's recognizing that he's getting up there and he can't move around like he used to. And what tends to happen, right? You talk about some of the greats. You think about like the freaking Ray Lewises of the world and all those guys. They step up their mental. They step up their preparation. All those things have to be at its peak because physically you're a step behind. And I think over the years, TB12 has relied less on his ability to even he still has a freaking cannon. He's relied less on his ability to push it down the field and is focused so much more on moving the chains. And how effective that is, not only from a time management standpoint, but in terms of getting guys in a groove, in terms of spreading the ball around, in terms of keeping defenses off kilter. We're talking about where our strength is right now as a defensive line. Well, the way in which I've seen him combat that in the past is freaking RPOs out the wazoo on plays that you don't even know there's an RPO. There's when I was out there playing in New England, there's RPOs on plays. I'm going out there to block, and all of a sudden he throws the ball to Edelman or freaking West. And I'm like, what the heck was that? And he was like, he looked at me. I'm like, what do you mean he looked at you? He looked at me. That man ran a slant. I'm like, what kind of crap is this? You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's so many elements of his game like that where he keeps guys off balance. So defensive lines and things like that might be all ramped up and they're hyped up for the matchup, and all of a sudden you come off the ball and the ball's out of his hand. Or, you know what I'm saying, or the screen's going the other way. Or, and all of a sudden now you're looking at where can I get my hands up at instead of rushing the guy, right? So there's so many different elements like that where he's just kind of savvy, and he has wisdom. There's nobody in this game, nobody coaching this game right now has more wisdom than him or freaking Belichick. And obviously he's not with Belichick anymore, but those two guys have played the most meaningful games out of anybody in this freaking league.
Think about Tyler Smith was born in April 2001. that was Brady was getting ready for his first Super Bowl season.
Wow.
With the Pats.
That's a stat.
It's wild. It's absolutely wild. And the other thing I'd say about Brady, and this is an intangible thing, because Pat's right, it comes down to the science. Like, can you win the matchups?
Right.
Can the guys help around him? But I don't know if it's the best time to face him right now, because you mentioned all the bleep that he's been dealing with. He's got MJ to him.
Yes, he
does. He has heard all this crap about how he's 45 and at some point he's going to fall off, and he missed 11 days in training camp, and maybe they're not on the same page as an offense and all this stuff, and he's going to use all that stuff as fuel, and not that it's not all legitimate, but he's going to try to take it out on the Dallas Cowboys Sunday night.
Oh yeah,
that's how he is.
Could that also be viewed as a potential distraction, though?
No.
Listen.
With any other normal human being.
Pat, I hear you.
Here's what I'm saying.
And I know where you're going with it.
What I'm saying is all the bleep that he has going on, we don't know the extent of it, right? Because it could be personal related, personal life, whatever the case may be.
Or he could be on The Masked Singer.
He could be one of the Masked Singers, which is the rumor, right? But my point is, could this be one of those rare moments where the cerebral assassin is distracted.
Triple H?
Where you go,
my guy?
Wrestling references.
That's all I'm saying.
Project Pat, yes, there's always a chance.
That's what I mean.
There's always
that's
you're
all I'm
saying there's a chance.
So you're
okay?
saying
there's always a chance, but the worst thing that you could do, and I'm not trying to gas up Tampa Bay. I'm just telling you the real about TB12.
Yeah, Brady.
The last thing you want to do is give him a lot of time to study. And there's no greater opportunity to study more than there is for your first game.
That's fair.
Especially when there's no changes from the coaching staff.
I do like that.
So you know what I'm saying? Like this is somebody that he's go ahead and say is TB12 versus Quinn. And he knows Quinn. Quinn knows him. Quinn has more resources, more talent, more things at his disposal to utilize to try to combat TB12. And best believe Quinn wants some payback. Right, he wants some payback. He had a little bit last year. He wants more. He didn't convert on that the way in which he wanted to. So Quinn's a competitor too. Let's not get it confused. He wants that too.
Quinn is no spring chicken.
Yeah, no, not at all. But in the back of his head, TB12 is like, I got your number.
Mm-hmm.
I got your number.
And Quinn is looking.
You were whooping my tail, and guess what? I was cool, calm, and collected. Came right back on your tail.
And
then I did it again the next year.
And Quinn is looking at Brady like,
absolutely.
Hey, you have my number, but
absolutely.
But does this rookie have Neville's number and Quentin's number? And the answer is no. And the answer is no. And the answer is no.
Great segue here because last year, whenever Brady went up against this Dallas defense, they didn't have the bazooka ready to roll.
Yeah, right.
The bazooka hadn't been unleashed yet. He was still in the case. He was out there, but they just didn't open him up yet. It didn't really happen until week 2 because last year, about 40% of the snaps for Micah Parsons was at the defensive line, was up front, in the front line, off of the line of scrimmage, on the line of scrimmage. He only had 10 snaps up front against Tampa Bay, which was 25% of his snaps that day. So there's a significant difference from the way he was utilized against the Buccaneers and the way he was utilized the rest of the season. Rob, when you look at Micah Parsons and what he is now, if he played that same ferocity, that same downhill mentality of going after the quarterback and pass rushing the way that we know he can now, last year, does it make a huge difference in that matchup, and can it do so this year?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, and you're right. Like, I went back and I wrote about this last year. What I wrote was he played 65 snaps. I counted 12 times where he was either a rusher or a blitzer on the line near the line of scrimmage.
Yeah,
and he said that was his worst game because he was just figuring stuff out, and a lot of the time he was chasing around Gronk and Leonard Fournette. He was in coverage a lot too. We'll see what happens, but they unlock something the next week, to your point, against the Chargers where, wow, he can rush. And he's had a full year to refine that. I'm not saying he's a finished product as a pass rusher.
I hope not.
But, man, Quinn has found all different. He's had a year to figure out, we can, and like Isaiah said, I mean, they played this game last year, and so they know the personnel, and there's going to be some more opportunities for him, I would imagine, to be around the quarterback.
Micah Parsons and this defense physically should dominate these guys on offense.
Fact.
I'm just laying that out. Physically, they should dominate it. Mentally, they're going to have to stay locked in for the entire freaking game.
Because it's almost like a pickpocket or like a locksmith is what I'm thinking.
Physically,
might take a little bit, but at some point he's going to unlock something.
If he gets you talking, he talks. He talks. So that's what I'm saying. Like, he will test you in so many different ways. Like, I need people to understand that. Like, physically, Cowboys might come out and bam, 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 Micah Parsons sack, boom, all they might go ham. The energy's going crazy. Stay focused. Stay focused because he will find something, and if you're not locked in, if you're more locked in on him or you're more locked in on somebody else on the offense that's talking mess, or you're distracted in any form or fashion, that's the freaking Debo window. That's the Debo window. That's the crack in the window that he needs. and my hope is that Micah and the rest of this defense, D-Law, whoever the leaders are in this defense, keeps everybody engaged and locked in for the entire game. Because if they can play to their abilities, Dallas will dominate this thing defensively if they stay locked in.
Here's what you have to love about Micah Parsons. Isaiah, you made a great point about the more time TB12 has to prepare for a team, the greater the odds are that TB12 will be successful against that team. Micah Parsons, the more time he has to starve for doing damage to someone,
just pure competition,
the greater the odds are that he's going to just run through that opposing team. Michael Parsons said last week, he said when he was asked if he's ready for week 1, he said, "Yeah, I'm tired. I'm ready to play against people I don't like." And as we're watching practice, you can see it, like it emanates from him. He has this aura of perpetual pissed offness, right? And I think that he's just so ready to unleash that, and you combine that with what the Cowboys know now as far as what he can do. He only had one quarterback hit against Brady in week 1 last season. He had no sacks. Those numbers are not going to be the same. He's going to be sent at Brady more against an offensive line that's already questionable. But even if they weren't questionable, Micah was going to be sent at him more. The addition of Anthony Barr will also allow for Micah Parsons to show more of that versatility. But then also don't count out Anthony Barr can get after the passer as well. Dan Quinn has so many bullets in the chamber. To throw at Tom Brady. And Micah Parsons is the bazooka. And not just that, you guys can attest to this. The Lion is freaking starving right now.
It was eye-opening listening to him last week. Not just what he said about playing against people I don't like, but, because there was a lot of talk about he had a lot of fun this offseason. He threw out the first pitch at games. He got to be on TV. He's doing a TV segment nationally during the season. He said, I got to be the best player in the NFL. Best player. It's not about stats. It's about making my teammates better. I mean, he sounded like a super perpetual pissed offness, motivated guy to be great. And that was eye-opening to me because I know he's motivated. I know he works hard, but he's locked in for the season.
The man said there's no one specifically that brings a charge out of him. He is, and I quote, he's trying to kill everybody out there, end quote.
Nice.
He's not normal in the best possible way from a football perspective. He is different. So and we're not going to put them on the same pedestal. Brady is Brady, and Micah has a hell of a lot more to learn, grow, improve. But I think we can all agree that Micah Parsons, this defense, as stout as it is personnel-wise, it'll go as Micah Parsons goes. And I think Micah Parsons, as early as week 1, is going to do some real damage.
Hopefully, it's not just Micah Parsons, too. Hopefully, it's the secondary. Hopefully, it's the linebacking core outside of Parsons. Maybe it's that defensive line we were just talking about. We haven't mentioned Trayvon Diggs yet, and I want to talk about him on the other side of the break. Can he replicate what he did against Mike Evans last year, which was 3 receptions for 24 yards, a pick, and 2 pass deflections? So can he do that again, and how can he do that again? When we come back with more Talkin Cowboys.
Did you get to work on time?
Yeah, but I just realized it's Sunday.
Little Sweet says head on home. Dr. Pepper's on its way. So sweet, unique. Baby, there's nothing better. I bet you've probably done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper. Did you invest your nest egg in an NFT?
Yeah, and I don't even know what that is. It's a non-fungible token.
Everyone's done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
The Cowboys way, where 16 Hall of Famers and 5 championships shows us what success looks like. Where turkey is always the second best part of Thanksgiving Day. Where we are all defined by one single thing, the star. Where we as fans know it's our job to keep the tradition going. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys and to support the quest of living life the Cowboys way.
Copyright 2020, Bank of America Corporation.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
Whether you're watching from home or you're cheering in the stands with Essilor lenses, you can see every exciting play. Book an appointment at your local Essilor experts and see what Essilor can do for you. See more, do more, Essilor on Talkin Cowboys, presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company. Isaiah Stanback, Patrick No-C Walker, Rob Phillips, Chris Beam. I'm Kyle Yeomans.
It's like that Usher gift.
Exactly. You like that?
Watch this. I like that. That's a good reference. All right. Trayvon Diggs versus Mike Evans.
Shut him down.
Last year, absolutely shut him down. Yep. No doubt.
3 for 24.
He was. It might have been Trayvon Diggs outside of the interceptions later on. Might have been his best coverage game of the year.
You want some next-gen stats real quick?
Yes.
Yeah.
Trayvon Diggs.
Science,
all right. He shadowed Mike Evans, aligning across from him on 39 of his 47 routes. That's 83%. He allowed just one reception for 10 yards on 3 targets and was in press coverage on over half his routes against Evans. 51%, man. Yeah.
Disrespectful, Rob.
Gets the people going.
He was like a wedgie that just you couldn't get out.
That's a great analogy. That's one of your top 10 right there.
There it is.
That's one that
the Legos are my favorite, but
the Legos last week with Kellen Moore dumping out his Legos.
Yeah.
And we're talking about a perennial 1,000-yard receiver.
Oh yeah, Mike Evans.
8 straight seasons, most active seasons in a row with 1,000 yards.
And the question that's posed is, can Diggs do it again? Yes.
How?
I say yes. I'm of the mindset that once you show me you could do something once, you just showed me you can do it twice, right? So the fact that Diggs has shown that he can shadow a receiver of that nature, and Mike Evans is no small guy. Okay, he is physical. Oh, yeah. He plays violent at the point of attack. He can high point balls, but Diggs basically deleted him from that game. Delete. And obviously there are going to be some game plan changes as far as how they try to attack Diggs from a Mike Evans standpoint, because that's just how coaching in the NFL goes. But to Trayvon Diggs' credit, here's another offseason under Dan Quinn, another offseason to learn under Al Harris. And he's feeling great. He looks good. And, 1 or 2 viral practice videos aside, Diggs has looked mostly fantastic.
Yeah.
Camp. He set the standard for the secondary. And that's, bringing up young guys like Deron Bland and helping them, kind of acclimate quickly to the NFL. But I think Diggs is arguably better than he was in his record-setting / record-tying 2021 season. So I have not seen a regression in training camp from Trayvon Diggs. So nothing for me points at Diggs not being able to do what he did against Mike Evans.
From a scheming standpoint, Isaiah, Rob just talked about press coverage 50% of the time or more than 50% of the time.
Yeah.
How do you see that going again? Do you think Diggs is up and pressing Mike Evans and it's a one-on-one matchup? Or where do you see the scheme helping Trayvon in a matchup with the 6'5", 230 pounds Mike Evans?
I don't think that Diggs is going to have a problem with Mike Evans, and that has nothing to do with last year. I just think that he is a good matchup for him. I think that Diggs likes the challenge. He's of that probably 1% of cornerbacks that just really believes that he can guard you, not just convincing himself of it, but that he truly believes it, and he's fully capable of doing it. So I think that he's going to be perfectly fine. I'm not worried about Evans. I'm more so worried about the other guys and whether or not they're going to be allowed to get off, and the guys that you forget about because you get so focused on a Mike Evans. So now you're going to your other defensive backs on your depth chart. You're talking about Jay Lew not necessarily being 100% possibly. So now you're looking at Anthony Brown, you're looking at Deron Bland, you're looking at some of these guys, and can they step up and make plays against the Russell Gages of the world and Perryman. So that's where my concern is. I have full confidence in Diggs, and I think that he'll continue to do what he does in terms of being a playmaker. He is working his way to being that cornerback in the league that you just don't really want to go at. I think the challenge for him is going to be to resist from going after those big plays and being okay with just the PBUs, the pass breakups. Because sometimes against bigger guys like this, if you go for that INT and you swing and miss, all of a sudden that 6'5" frame reaches over, snatches that cereal off the top of your head, and it can go the other way.
I know a lot of that is instinct for a defender.
Yes.
And especially a guy with the ball skills of Trayvon Diggs. And, oh, my gosh, he had 11 interceptions last year. But how much of that is coaching, too, of saying, okay, we're okay with a PBU every once in a while. If you can catch it, go catch the ball.
We're talking about a cornerback that had 21 pass breakups.
That's a good point.
Last season. Yep. So Trayvon Diggs is equally as prepared and anxious to take the ball away when the opportunity presents itself as he is ready to knock the ball away when the opportunity presents itself. It's not that he had 11 interceptions and only had 5 or 6 PBUs. Like, he was up there leading the league in PBU. So he's a stout coverage guy, regardless of what social media sphere might tell you. And to your question, I like him pressing Mike Evans. I don't think Mike Evans is a guy that you should allow a release on, because if you allow the release on Mike Evans, you're putting a whole lot of pressure on your safety unit.
I was about to say, over the top.
Now, I can't believe I'm saying this, but the Cowboys safety unit looks so good that.
What you say, not yet?
Say it again.
It only took 2 off seasons under Dan Quinn, but this safety unit looks really, really good. And touching on your point, Isaiah, first of all, Trayvon Diggs can break up passes. We've seen that.
Yeah.
But I don't want him to get away from his style of play, his aggressive playmaker style of play, nor does he have to, because the safety unit looks, personnel-wise, it looks stout. You got Malik Hooker. Donovan Wilson is now healthy. He's a former breakout safety. Jaron Curtis, we'll count him as a linebacker. Okay, fine. But Israel Mukuamu is coming on, and then you look at a young guy like Wanye. We'll see how he plays in the NFL. But this safety unit looks like it has the cornerbacks back, which is something that you couldn't say 2 seasons ago. So now you have Trayvon Diggs, a playmaker, a ball hawk, but also Anthony Brown. You brought up Anthony Brown. Anthony Brown, quiet as it's kept, he had a really good season last year. He's having one of the best camps this year. Yeah. So now I think the Cowboys are in a situation where you can't not eventually throw at Diggs, because if you throw at Brown, he's shown he can pick the ball off.
3 last year,
and said that he probably himself left 5 or 6 on.
That was that was a tough opener for him against Antonio Brown, who's not on this roster anymore. I'm interested, Isaiah. I'm interested to see how much teams throw at Diggs this year, because he is going to stay aggressive, to Pat's point, and that's why they kept throwing at him, because, hey, maybe we can catch him on some double moves and things like that. He was probably thrown at more than he should have been, because he is that dangerous. But I'm curious if he is going to evolve into, hey, we just got to stay away from him.
And Anthony Brown is going to get 5 or 6 interceptions if you try to stay away from Diggs.
I think they're going to test him. I mean, obviously, right? They're going to test him. There's TB12 at least is not going to shy away from Diggs, never. Right? But he might make him pay for it, and I hope he does. I hope Diggs does make him pay for it. He is that lint in your pocket. He's going to stay right there with you. He's everywhere you go, he's going to go. And I think it really comes down to the other guys. I really think it comes down to the other guys. Mike Evans is going to get a couple catches here and there. Last year he only had one against Diggs. We don't know if
Godwin's even playing.
Godwin's most likely, even if he plays,
not 100%.
I doubt that he's out there. 100%. They're not going to put somebody out there as a smoking gun, right?
What about Julio?
Julio's a red zone guy.
I think that's red zone.
Okay. He's a red zone guy. I mean, Julio's going to be a possession guy. He's going to be a red zone guy. You got to remember how big Julio is. Julio's ginormous.
Right.
And, if Diggs is on Mike Evans, if you got Diggs on Mike Evans, you can put 8, so let's go ahead and say J. Lou is not 100%. Okay, let's just assume J. Lou's not playing. You put Anthony Brown on, you put on Russell Gage. Now who's on Julio?
Julio, by the way, 6'3", 220. So he's a little bit smaller than Evans. But both of those guys in the field at the same time.
I think maybe get in there. Yeah, Mukuamu,
exactly.
Or maybe you kind of look at Curse and you say, Mukuamu, okay, I need you to shake down and handle Cameron Brady, one of the tight ends, and I need a bigger guy in Curse to go over and handle Julio.
But you have the personnel to do it.
I would like a red zone matchup.
But you have the personnel to do it. So it's, that's what I'm saying. Personnel-wise, Dallas is in a really good position.
Yeah.
Good position. Good matchup.
Great matchup.
I'm excited about this because I felt wronged last year from a Cowboys standpoint. I thought they played that game well enough to win.
That game was a W.
Yeah.
If your kicker does what you pay him to do, that game's you leave 4 points on the
Kickers?
field.
They're important?
They're pretty important.
A little bit.
We haven't talked about Mr. Maher yet this week, so that's a good thing.
We have someone on practice squad.
Yeah, no doubt. All right.
He's the guy.
Tomorrow, we're going to talk about the Cowboys offense and Touchdown Thursday. Cowboys offense versus the Tampa Bay defense. We flip the matchup, and then it's Say It With Your Chest Friday. Coming up on Talkin Cowboys, presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company. Check them out at blackriflecoffee.com. For Chris Beam, Rob Phillips, Isaiah Stanback, Patrick No C. Walker, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long. Thanks for joining us this week, and we'll see you tomorrow on Talkin Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?